Things I know in 2025. Pedro Pascal is a god among men, and the Trump administration would fail any basic U.S. civics test. Because what do you mean that we ask immigrants to pass a test assessing their knowledge of U.S. history and government, but the Trump administration, specifically Kristi Noem of his cabinet, doesn't know the basic concepts of government, including habeas corpus? That's like not knowing 1 and 1 is 2 and teaching math. What? And maybe that's why the Trump administration keeps making announcements like this, where they've arrested a member of Congress for, quote, assault, but their team just pardoned 1,500 people that stormed the actual Capitol. What do you mean? It feels like, in addition to having trouble with basic concepts of American government, they also have trouble with basic concepts of English, because how are you calling what she did assault, but what these people did a pardonable offense? This is also indicative of a larger problem that I've been screaming about for many years, which is that we don't provide adequate civics education in this country. But also, it serves as a distraction for Trump's big, beautiful bill. I'm not going to call it that anymore. The disaster bill that looms ahead of us. So TLDR, that's what this video is. But I'm also going to go back and talk about the problems with the first two segments, because you can't ask me not to talk about that. So how wrong was Kristi Noem when she was asked in a hearing what habeas corpus is? How wrong was she?
Well, habeas corpus is a constitutional right that the president has to be able to remove people from this country and suspend their right to...
What now? You mean like the exact opposite of what it's actually supposed to protect people from? These people have such a detached relationship with reality that it like circles back and it's now the inverse of the truth. They live the inverse of the truth. Okay, Senator Hassan, maybe you can tell us, what is habeas corpus? Because Kristi obviously needs a refresher.
Habeas corpus is the legal principle that requires that the government provide a public reason for detaining and imprisoning people. If not for that protection, the government could simply arrest people, including American citizens, and hold them indefinitely for no reason. Habeas corpus is the foundational right that separates free societies like America from police states like North Korea.
Noem goes on to try to defend herself and suggest that it's been written into the Constitution because Abraham Lincoln used it, but the senator, knowing her actual history, corrected her and said actually he retroactively got approval from Congress. The presidents need approval from Congress. That's what's explicitly written in the Constitution. Now see, y'all think this is just a distraction from the big, beautiful bill, and I agree that it is all a distraction. However, I don't know that this is intentionally a distraction. I think they actually don't know civics. I think they've been taught things via Fox News and memes on Facebook, and now they're convinced they understand the interpretation of the Constitution. And this is a real problem for us, because when we try to have good faith conversation with these people, but we're starting off on completely different pages. Nope, we're in different books. Are they reading a book? Probably not. That is a part of the issue here. Also, a part of the issue is the reason why habeas corpus matters is for things like this, because can you imagine how bad it would be if we didn't have the right that forced people like U.S. Attorney Haba, can't believe I have to put those two words in a sentence. People like this have to announce why they have charged a congresswoman for quote unquote interfering with law enforcement. Without habeas corpus, they could simply just take Congressman McIver away and we'd never see her again. That's why habeas corpus matters. Because when you actually look at the evidence for what they're charging Congressman McIver with, most reasonable people can see that in fact is a trumped up charge by Trump himself, because now he is targeting his political enemies, the people who disagree with him. You know who else does that? Police states like North Korea. Free and democratic countries, and yes, we are a country based on democracy. It's a republic. It's an indirect democracy. So using these principles of democracy, we do not arrest people that we disagree with. Similarly, we don't pardon people who try to overthrow our government with force. But that's for another day. Is this a publicity stunt to distract us from the looming budget bill that is a significant overreach of federal powers? Yes, but do these people also believe that this is the correct interpretation of the Constitution? Yes. Both things are bad. To see the charges against Representative McIver as anything other than retribution and political intimidation is insulting. Also, the fact that they're targeting a Black woman. There's a reason for this. That needs to be part of the conversation, especially given Black women's treatment by police and authorities in the past historically, her movement in this clip is extraordinarily appropriate. It's not hysterical or overreactive or theatrical to say that Black and brown bodies are not safe around law enforcement. Historically, we know that that's true. So calling these actions self-defense is appropriate. Anybody that's been watching and listening for the past several hundred years knows that that's true. And they're going to continue to go after marginalized communities first. That's also a playbook from history. This is why people have referred to the MAGA movement as a cult, because when you are in a cult and you are indoctrinated so hard against basic truth and reason, when you are brought with facts, you don't recognize them. Okay, it's never like you're going to show up to these people and knock, knock, here's the truth, and they're going to go, oh yeah, you're right. I see how I was wrong. That's never going to happen. We have too many people in leadership in the Democratic Party, like Chuck Schumer, for instance, and even now Cory Booker, who continually think that somehow we can have bipartisan conversations with these people. We can appoint people to positions and they'll do the right thing. We can't, because they won't. But some people in the Democratic Party seem to get it, like Senator Hassan. I like this approach. Please start treating the Republicans this way. Start flipping the script. Start demanding that they explain how their actions fit within the Constitution. Press the Republicans loudly to explain themselves. And when they fail to provide a correct answer, loudly correct them in a public setting. Loudly put the spotlight on their inefficiencies to represent the people of this country. That is literally your only job right now. Because apparently the mainstream media isn't going to do it. So it's up to y'all, Democratic members of Congress. God help us all.